French climber Luce Douady has died at the age of 16 after falling from a cliff on Sunday, the French Federation of Mountaineering and Climbing has said. Douady was a rising star in the French climbing team and was described as very promising in a statement from the FFME on Monday. The 16-year-old was with friends when she fell from a cliff near Grenoble in southeastern France, according to the statement. It went on to say, "This terrible news has had a huge impact on her training partners, her coaches and her club, but today, the whole federation is in mourning." In a statement on Facebook, her club described Douady as a beautiful person. "Luce Douady left us yesterday," reads the statement. "She went as she lived, living life to the fullest." Last year she won the Youth World Championships title in bouldering in Arco, Italy, and also finished fifth in her debut appearance at the International Federation of Sport Climbing Boulder World Cup circuit in Vail, US. Douady was a young, brilliant and talented athlete, said the IFSC in a statement released Monday. The IFSC's thoughts and prayers are with Luce's family and friends at this tragic time. Port climbing is one of a number of new Olympic events and will feature for the first time at the Tokyo Games, which have been delayed until next year because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Of action to come. Charlie Bosco here with Mike Langley alongside me. And this is the scene here in Arco. And believe it or not, it is cooled down a little bit. I actually have a sweater on. Mike, conditions certainly a lot better than they have been. Nice conditions for climbing right now.
Yeah, I don't quite know what's wrong with you. I'm certainly not wearing a sweater. I'm a Hawaiian shirt and shorts.
Well, I've already been in the lake this morning, so I'm a little bit chilly.
There we can see he's sixth finalist. Hopefully it's going to be last day, best day here in Arco. It's been a really good championships up to now, and I think speaking to a lot of the athletes around the town just late last night, they really enjoyed this championships. They've really been pushed. The semi-finals, especially in these rounds, have been really hard. The finals have been good, and you know, when the athletes get to this Youth B, Youth A, they're really learning a lot, not only about the boulders, about climbing, about the routes, speed climbing. They're really learning a lot about life as well, and they've seemingly gone really well here in Arco, and I'm sure they'll be carrying that back to their national and local comps in every country that they do come from. And yeah, it's been absolutely superb all around the town, down at the lake, in the river, in the ice cream shop. It's the Arco as you would expect.
We will get to the end of a live stream this week without you mentioning your ice cream shop.
One shop, I've tried them all. I've got a little ranking system.
Yeah, pizzas as well have been quite a hit, as you all expect. After 12 days in Tokyo and then 8 days here in Arco, we've had to slightly get a wider camera to fit Mike and I on. It's not been great for the waistline. Either trip, going to Japan followed by Italy is not a recipe for developing a six-pack stomach, sadly, and it hasn't worked for us. But we've had a lot of good climbing to watch. We hope you've enjoyed it at home as well. Jana Rout will be first out onto this first boulder. Mike, just you were just down the mats earlier on. Talk us through this first boulder.
Yeah, first boulder, it's sort of 6 not identical but close to identical holds. All of these big wide boxes, big pinches, all in blue. On the far right hand one, that we can almost see in the shot there, it's just top left, is a extra screw-on, at which point you mount up, potentially go left up the volumes or right up the volumes. Route setters tell me it's a bit easier to go fully round to the right hand side. You can see it's another pair of volumes. The second one does have a hold on it. Mount up round to the right and then the finish hold. So it's a relatively short, climbs quickly, but as you can see from the first climber, Jana Ralph, it's certainly not easy to actually get established on that next set of pair of pinches.
So Jana had a couple of attempts just to get the admin out of the way. I've said this at the start of every stream, but I want to keep repeating myself. Sadly, we do not have a feed for the clock. So it would be nice, but we don't. And occasionally we catch a glimpse of the clock in the background. And then we also have watches and phones to try and keep a track of the time. But we don't have a feed to the official clock. So apologies for that. Is the standard 4 minutes per climber. Jana Rout, she's been out and attempted that jump 3 times. as yet, without really looking like sticking it. Here she goes again. She's, I think, got the sequence right. 2 minutes. Yeah, there we go. Caught a glimpse of the clock. 2 minutes to go. Ask the brushes to do their things. She's getting to the hole, but only just, and therefore hasn't got any bend in the arm to kind of absorb the shock of arriving at the hold, and she's just dropping straight off as it stands right now. So she pulls on for another go. Let's have a look at the method this time. Slightly different, trying to kind of match that lower volume and then go from there. Jana out, the first climber out. I like that. Luce Douady will be out next, and then it's Hana Kudo, Nai Menyon, Natsumi Hirano, and Saki Kikuchi. So no joy at all for Jana Rout. It's Luce Douady who's out next.
Yeah, it was a shame on that first boulder really to come out and to not really get any moves in the bag. Is a little bit disappointing, but this boulder is really only a 2 or 3 move boulder depending how you do that top section, and yeah, it's just would appear to be just a straightforward jump to that next pair of boxes. Straightforward in terms of the actual sequence, certainly not straightforward in the having to actually complete it. Luce Douady with a famous shake of the hands, famous already. The French generation of climbers through the youth is really coming now. Ah, there you go, straight into it, left hand wraps, right hand dials straight into that extra screw on. Luce Douady, this could be all over very, very quickly now, just leans into that top hold. Ah, yes, superb, seconds on the clock, and all is done.
What a start for Luce Douady.
It's a bit of a heartbreak for Jana Alpha there as well, because Luce Douady is going to be heading back, less than a minute used up, jogs off. Yeah, the perfect sequence there. Didn't have a problem with it at all. As was suggesting, and I was cautious to say this at the beginning, but this was one of the easier boulders of the 4. It's always good to be cautious, I think, with the information you're told, because especially in the youth categories, things are always climbed in ways that you slightly unexpect.
I've been revelling in my inability to make predictions this week. To be honest, I should have had a really good stab at making a prediction here. Because either way I would have been wrong. Jana Rout couldn't do the first move and Luce Douady strolled up it, so whether I'd said it was hard or easy I'd have been wrong. Should have said it was medium. Hana Kudo trying to jump out. She's one of the shorter climbers, but certainly not the shortest in this final. She's just looked a little short on that jump. Ooh, and tries to match. She wasn't that far off. There's not much to catch if you don't use the second volume to stop the swing. Just studying the jump. You can see there 2:39 left for her. This is making Luce Douady's performance look all the more impressive. Goes again. Still nothing. Well, if we hadn't seen Luce Douady basically absolutely smash this boulder out the park, I'd be wondering if it had been overcooked. Did we dream that? So she pulls on again. She's got just under a minute left to try and find something here. Time running out here, you fear? I suspect this will be the last attempt. And that is the last attempt. Well, I can't quite believe what Luce Douady did. Her compatriot, Maignan, climbing next.
Yeah, it's quite strange really to see 3 climbers come out, 2 look a fair way away from the move. Luce Douady made it look like a part of her warm-up routine, but the way Luce just came out and had loads of spring. And you think the way that she wrapped that first left-hand volume of the 2 really gave her an extra bit of momentum into that extra screw. And let's see how Maignan gets on. Her compatriot Luce Douady did flash this boulder. Oh, superb for Maignan. Absolutely smashes through that first move again. Can she mount up on this top move? This is where we saw Luce Douady going on to the right side. Maignan tries up on the left. Now pushes into that shoulder to finish. There we go, another flash. Team France are absolutely on form here. Maignan, Luce Douady must be absolutely working on their jumps over the last few weeks, because they've come out and pounced through this bottom section. You couldn't even argue it's the taller or anything like that. It's clearly just a technique issue and power through the legs to get the distance to that pair of pinches, and they're hitting the handholds perfectly.
Well, I had a croissant for breakfast this morning. It didn't work for me. Anyway, whatever they've eaten, try and get hold of. Incroyable, as they would say in that part of the world. The French climbers literally making this look like a different bowl. It's like someone's added a couple of screw-ons. Yeah, and Natsumi like Hirano later to try her luck.
Just the distance. They seem to just brought the volumes closer. Let's see how Natsumi gets on. Oh, completely different technique. Pinches and that lower volume. Also flying up this boulder. Look at the speed this boulder has climbed. It's only really 1 move boulder. There we go.
Well, there we go. Okay.
That's that. Moving on. There's barely even time to add any insight to that whatsoever, apart from the fact she just walloped that boulder, and the next climber is going to come out.
I'm struggling to think of a boulder where we had a final where literally half the field basically can't do the first move, and the other half of the field just walk up it, as you say, Mike, like it's part of their warm up.
I have to say, it's a pretty strange boulder. It's basically one move. The top move doesn't really seem to be adding much. You know, it seems to be you've got to try a little bit up there, but it's just a jump to 2 pinches, and that's the end of that. It's yeah, interesting. The route has got quite a lot of space on the wall here. There are other finals to come, so they have storing some holds and half boulders on the wall to the sides. You can see one to the left there as in those yellow volumes, but yeah, it's quite strange. Just tries to jump to that double pinch at the bottom as well. I wonder if this is just a pure hand grip strength. That sounds a bit weird, but the fact that they just jump to it and just have to squeeze the box in a really wide pinch, and it seems that when the climbers have got it, the left hand, the first one that hits the volume, does seem to do quite a lot to hold you on the wall. There we go. Oh, nicely done. Does it as a triple. When you see it like that, it's actually quite a cool move. Can she push to the top? You would expect so from here. There we go. Saki Kikuchi gets it top, and that's the end of the first boulder.
I cannot recall seeing a boulder where there was such a clear gap between climbers. I mean, we see a climber like Jan Garmbret come out and perhaps do a boulder others couldn't. But to have people repeatedly try the first move, not get anywhere near it, and then another 4 climbers, I think it was 4 flashes, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, Saki Kikuchi's second go. Yeah, 4 tops for a combined 5 attempts.
Yeah,
quite extraordinary.
It's almost like there's a heavy weight, and see if you can lift it. Some people can lift it, and some people can't. It's a very, very odd start to the competition, I have to say.
Really unusual. Okay.
Anyway, we're pushing on to the next boulder.
Yeah, we're not messing around at all here.
Yana Rouse back out. It seems like a matter of minutes since she was before, and yeah, she's going to be really disappointed of that first boulder. Obviously, she couldn't find the top where others flashed it. Let's see if she can redeem herself a little bit on this second boulder. This is all volumes, slightly off vertical wall. It's probably somewhere between 5 and 10 degrees overhanging, and I think this one could potentially ramp things up a little bit. And you never quite know with these young climbers how they're going to get on with these volume-only based boulders. Yana Rouse looking pretty solid here, actually. Techie bit of wall climbing, really slightly overhanging, as I said. No additional jibs on any of those volumes at all, so it's all just volumes only. Conditions for this type of boulder actually pretty much spot on out there today, considering this is Arco, the end of August, northern Italy. It's been absolutely roasting. Yesterday was mid-30s out there in the arena. It's in the shade most of the time on the actual bouldering wall itself, but just at the back of the mats it was super hot, and you see Rihanna actually pulling a bit of tape off her fingers there, so she's trying to protect the skin as much as she can, especially on that first boulder. Does pull the tape off now, and a boulder like this, you really don't want to be climbing with tape on your fingers. You want to try and avoid that as much as possible, because skin and friction against the volumes is so critical. See, she's just stretching up to that first side pull. Just the volume next to her right hand does have chalk on it as well. A little bit hard to interpret some of these betas on some of these climbs at the moment, because these boulders were actually set on the very first day, many moons ago. The first day of route setting, and the boulders and the routes volumes, a lot of the volumes have been reused throughout the rounds. 96 boulders in total were set here for this championships, and obviously they've had to reuse a whole number of volumes, and so some of them have got chalk where you may not expect it, and that adds a little level of route reading confusion for these athletes. So Yana pulled the tape off for her previous go, now puts the tape back on. She's obviously suffering with her skin pretty bad. That's not what you need going into a Juve Boulder finals. Bit of a shame that your skin gets affected so badly on these rounds. That's better. She's re-established on this first triangular volume in the midsection of this boulder. See, it's all just about laying away off the edges of the volumes. Slightly better. Almost a knee bar. She's just been to that position before, leading up to that zone hold up and left. See, every time that she goes to pull on there, she's just checking her skin, checking the conditions. Really fighting here, Jana Ralph. See, squeezing everything she's got into that volume, trying to knee bar again. She's coming out here and she's looking pretty tired, as we said. Walks away from the second boulder with no top.
Yeah, Luce Douady will be out next, the climber whose performance we could scarcely believe on boulder 1, and whose performance was then replicated by 2 other climbers and almost replicated by Saki Kikuchi, who got its second go. Let's see if we can get a close-up of this handshake. I really like it just before she climbs. Like a judo chop. Oh. I have to say, as a climber of a slightly older vintage like myself, I'm always thinking about, she'll get arthritis in her wrists if she does that all the time. Arthritis. So she does not flash this one as well. First time she's fallen off a boulder in this final. See, that's what the success is resting upon. You've got to squeeze the life out of that big black volume as well. This looks a little more hopeful from Luce. Heads up to the zone hold, incorrectly labelled the bonus. We've talked about this a couple of times this week. Send your conspiracy theories in about why the signs are saying bonus rather than zone. Almost certain it's because someone just forgot to order the correct signs as Luce Douady drops it, just setting up for the top move. Interesting boulder this, just body position is so crucial. Tricky one this, you can study the boulder, but until you get up there you can't really feel the body positions much. You can see it requires a bit of oomph just to hang on to that volume. You've got to try and get yourself set up. Just cannot find a way to stay up there and set for the top move, and with 13 seconds to go, that will be that for Luce Douady.
Yeah, it's interesting. Luce would have been one of the favourites on this boulder, so it's obviously much harder than the first boulder. You can see her handprints on the volumes as she goes up, actually. I saw when the root set is really rubbing a lot of chalk and brushing and trying to prep these volumes as best they could for this round. such is the level of chalk and dust and everything that's built up on those volumes throughout this championship. So you wonder if the conditions just aren't ideal on them. You didn't usually see the volumes kind of having fingerprints in them that much before. Obviously you do expect a little bit of that, but there seems to be overly large amounts of fingerprints in the volumes as she climbed it there, Luce Douady. Let's see what Hana Kudo could do. Again, on these volume-based climbs, soft shoes is really good. Maximum rubber through the feet, maximum contact. And ultimately, moving fast between the volumes we'd have thought would be the preferred method of climbing, because the conditions of the skin on the volumes is so vital on this type of climb. You want to be feeling it's quite dry tips and palms as you squeeze these volumes. Any moisture build up really starts to hurt you on these moves. This is definitely the hardest move up to the zone. Luce Douady did fire up to that zone. This is looking better from Hana Kudo. 2 hands, wrist wrapping, that zone hold now just pushing towards the top. Hana Kudo lining it up. Just comes short of the top hold. Did hit the top. Hana Kudo going in for the brushwork herself. See big puffs of chalk coming off that volume as she brushes it herself. Luce Douady got the zone on her second attempt. Hana Kudo, one of those climbers who didn't find anything on the first boulder. One of only 2 climbers not to get a zone or a top on the first block. Gamba Gamba asks the MC for Hana Kudo. She's really got the perfect sequence through this section here, and this move here just pushing up off the right foot, nothing for the left foot. Seems really hard. You can see more grease marks in those volumes from her fingers. And there you can see perfect shot just as she slides down that right hand triangle. We saw Jana Ralph really struggling with her skin. Semi-finals for this category was yesterday. And it's not much time to recover. It's a standard amount of time for a senior level World Cup. But it's potentially skin a big issue here this weekend, with it being so hot. Not sure if many of these athletes would have been enjoying the local swimming areas. Yeah. Certainly don't want to be getting your fingertips wet swimming for hours on end in between bouldering rounds. This time pushes for the wrap on the zone volume of her left hand. Heel hooks established really well, just short of the top hole. This boulder's looking very toppable. Go straight in for another go. Must be short on time now. Shake of the head. It's not going to happen for her. Disappointed on boulder number 2 as well as number 1 there, Hana Kudo.
So Nai Mignon, you can see, is just taken to the stage. There's a golden opportunity for somebody here, including Nai Mignon, who got number 1 done and got it done quickly. had a quick look. Not convinced about something. Mignon pulls back on. Luce Douady and Hannah Kudo both got the zone on this one. But we haven't had a top. Fourth climber, Mignon, 2 still to come. Tries a little hand swap down with the left. And a toe hook as well. She's definitely getting creative. It's not quite led to anything yet, but it's one of those boulders where a bit of creative thinking is clearly going to be required. Still not making much progress. It's a boulder that makes you think, and I'm not entirely sure what the solution is. So she's squeezing the life out of that black volume, and then you've somehow got to get your feet engaged, and packs her bag. Don't forget your chalk bag, and calls it a day. So not made quite as much progress as her compatriot Luce Douady.
Yeah, this volume style boulder really does seem to be love or hate, and sometimes, as I was just talking to one of the route setters out there just before this round started, when it's a volume only boulder you're really taking a risk, because it can feel very different for very different body sizes and hands, hand size, skin conditions, weather conditions. And so far this boulder, although we've seen one climber flap for the top hold from Hannah Kudo, let's see if Natsumi Hirano can find everything. Yeah, there's no additional screw-ons here. There's nothing really for the climbers to really get their teeth into, really start to crimping down on. Luce Douady and Hannah Kudo did find the zone. Hannah on her first go and Luce Douady on her second go. Natsumi Hirano just trying something slightly different there by palming off of that right hand triangle. This time looks like she has the correct sequence. It's really hanging off that lower, the two triangles. Establishes the knee bar and looking comfortable, but it's got to move a bit faster now between the zone and the top hold. Gets the guppy on the zone. Now pushing towards the top and just slips. Really vertical heel hook. Natsumi Hirano there had a very similar attempt to Hanakudo there. That pile of blue volumes you can see on the left is yet to be set boulder. Needs to be rebuilt for the later finals today. It's actually going to go in for the liquid chalk. Actually done some experiments myself as to whether liquid chalk, a thick layer of liquid chalk, helps on volume only climbs, and found that just loose chalk with no liquid chalk actually helps if you've got good skin climbing these volume only based boulders. If your skin's bad, then liquid chalk definitely does seem to help. But if your skin's good, I found personally, only personal, as all things in climbing tend to be personal, just too much liquid chalk on a volume only based climb doesn't help get the friction between the skin and the actual volume themselves. Feel is so important on this type of climb. Just feeling the texture of the volumes underneath your skin, and sometimes the liquid chalk can build up such a thick layer that you can't quite get the correct purchase. There's that little lean out to the zone volume now, so just tries to jump for the top this time. You can see that's a good idea of what that top volume is like. It's okay, but it's slanting down on the right hand edge there. You can see it from that angle. We have to say it looks like a pretty bad volume. You've got to go up there in control. You would have thought there's a chance of sticking that. Easily through this lower section now. I wonder if she'll try again to just jump for the top, or if she'll use the heel. But she's just lining it up, trying to pounce for it, and does slowly grease down the volumes, and that does end Natsumi Hirano's efforts on that boulder. And Saki Kikuchi is the final climber out. No tops on this boulder so far after so many on the first boulder. Let's see if we can find a top to separate this field.
So Saki Kikuchi very politely hands her scorecard to the judges. Now she's got a massive opportunity here. She got number 1 done, but it was on her second go, and because 3 people above it flashed number 1, that left her down in 4th place. But if she can find a top here, she'll move into the lead. She'll be the only climber with 2 tops, and those 2 attempts, or that extra attempt on number 1, won't seem nearly as important. So he's already had a quick look at it. It's an interesting boulder, this one. It just forces you to think. Forces you to have multiple attempts. As yet, nobody's quite solved the puzzle. Reaching up, oof. It's Potential for a slightly nasty fall here, I have to say. You could wouldn't be out of the question that you could clobber yourself as you fell down, but she avoided that outcome. 2 minutes 10 left now for her. .120 now. Ticking down the time. Top would put her in such a strong position. Slips just almost exactly the same time as the buzzer sounds to tell her she's got 1 minute left. It's a shame for Saki Kikuchi because this could really have put her back in the reckoning, but as it is, she might be getting ever so slightly left behind, and after being clearly the best climber in the semi-final, that will be a disappointment. Needs to find something. Japanese team suddenly kind of burst into life, cheering her on. And sadly, that is time up just as she slapped out for the zone. So no tops of number 2.
Bit of a disaster that for the route setters, really. Boulder number 2. You can see the scores. Luce Douady still up there with her flash of the first boulder, plus a zone on the second. Her and Natsumi Hirano were only 2 to find the zone on that boulder. That's not 100% true, actually. Just rereading the scores a bit closer. I do apologise there. Oh, it feels like we've been here for a long time all of a sudden after that boulder. I'm sure with boulder number 3 we'll start to rekindle this final a little bit. Here we go.
You're making me laugh, Mike. We always, I'd like to think, always keep an element of fairness and take the edge off our opinions, but after 3 weeks straight, that was a bit of a disaster. Feel like I've been here forever after that boulder.
Here we go then, boulder number 3.
Any pretense at political correctness has just been replaced with brutal honesty. Didn't like that one. Next.
That was a disaster. Let's move on. Let's pretend that never happened.
Yeah, that's enough about you. Let's talk about me.
Boulder number 3 then starts quite high on these set of ledges on the blue panels on the angle change. Big round volume out on the left, and you just push up into the mantle, fully mantle it out until you're standing back where you're starting hands position, where right up into the corner, and at which point shuffle across, a bit of extreme walking across these volumes. A really physical mantle just to start and get up into the groove. Yana Rao's just got the body position now, just got to turn the hands around and go fully straight armed into the full press.
Yana Rao's not quite got going in this final yet. She's the only climber without a top or a zone. But I mean, the amazing thing is, because nobody got number 2 done, she could still win the competition.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a low scoring round when a boulder like that doesn't really have any meaningful result in the competition. It remains wide open. You can see Jana's come out with tape basically every single fingertip, so she's suffering really badly with her skin here, and you have to feel for her. It's a real shame going into a World Championship final like this to be suffering with bad skin. Is really disappointing, and
it's hard not to, though, isn't it, with a lot of climbers doing three events.
Yeah, I think the heat as well. It's, you know, we were just talking last night, it was about 10 PM last night. I was doing the local fingerboard competition in the middle of the town late at night, as you do in Arco.
Oh, was it you that set that record?
Yeah, me and Ramon, Julien Poblanc were up there as hanging on forever. I wish, but anyway.
He could probably hang on longer with you hanging off him than you can hang yourself.
Yeah, a lot of the climbers were out there last night, and we're just saying, can you imagine what these young climbers are going through? It's so hot. Every day trying to squeeze the shoes onto swollen feet, and yeah, it's really amazing what these athletes have put their bodies through and done so well. 1 minute to go here for Jana Ralph. Not up and into that mantle just yet. A few people starting to come out into the field here in Arco.
Yeah,
these early morning starts are a struggle for some.
They're not well attended, the early mornings, it'd be fair to say. We get the crowd in the afternoon when everyone's got a belly full of good food. But quiet in the mornings. It's quite nice. It's like watching cricket. You know, the day slowly unfolds gradually.
At which point, at 7 o'clock in the evening, everyone's absolutely wasted.
Yeah, exactly. Just without the fancy dress and shouting and everything.
Don't think we'll be going in for 5 pints and a big snake of beer cups here at the Youth World Championships somehow.
Speak for yourself. Luce Douady. Next climber out. Actually leading the competition, Luce Douady, by virtue of having flash boulder 1 and got the zone on her second attempt on boulder 2. Not the easiest starting position to attain, but she attains it nonetheless. And this looks like a good start. This looks like a very good start for Luce Douady. Got to do this move slowly. There we go. She's just saying to the judges, there you go, I've got the zone. Get that chalked up, please. See the right hand just creeping round. This is good work from Luce Douady. Still her first attempt, although she's been on the wall a long time. But remember, if you're in the 4 minutes, you can take as long as you want. And that could be flash number 2 of the competition for Luce Douady. Gives the top volume a whack and says, that'll do, thank you.
Yeah, you can see Jana Ralph is just previous climber out, just not quite in the condition that she wants to be for this UFA final. See the way Luce Douady just pushed out that first move. There's a replay of Luce Douady at the top. Smiles all round. She's had a really good 2019 so far. I wonder if she can finish it with a UFA World Championship medal to her name. Next climber out, Hannah Kudo, here she comes. Jogs onto the mat. Currently sitting down in 5th place, no tops to her name, but just a zone on the second boulder. It's all to fight for here still though. This is boulder number 3 or 4 here, of course, in the final. 4 boulders, 4 minutes on each. All climbers attempt each boulder as a group before moving on to the next boulder. There's the push and mantle. Left drop knee just helps open up the body a little bit to push down and fully mantle on that right hand. Now let's see how she gets on the pressing out of the groove and into this thumb catch. Really minimalist hold. Offers just enough. She's really flat-footing that first volume there with her right foot, and she's potentially got a foot covering where she wants her left foot. Yoshiyuki Ogata there, of the Japanese team, and the senior level team, and he's been here supporting the juniors all week. Just trying to find the body position to get out of the corner here at the moment. She's really well stretched now, just shuffles the right heel up a little bit to make room for the left foot. Just loses balance so easy, just to balance off these boulders. Slightest loss of concentrations, upper body just comes out a little bit, at which point with virtually no handhold to hold on to, it's really easy just to wobble off. Straight back into it though. This is a very slow boulder to climb, so she's got to go straight in for another go. Really powerful Manto actually pushing it into that groove. Luce Douady made it look relatively straightforward, but you can see there from Hanakudo just how difficult it is to power out into that groove. Just using the texture on the wall, fully textured boulder wall here. She's really concentrating on the handhold there, and you wonder maybe just concentrating on the feet more than the hands, trying to get absolutely everything out of that undercut as possible. Now gets the right foot across, and it's all about weighting the feet this boulder, just staying relaxed, just breathing, certainly not forgetting to breathe. Slowly weighting the foot as the head coach of the Japanese team. Hanakudo just relaxes for a moment before shuffling the feet one more time to try and end up round the corner. Top hold is pretty good on that angle. This is slow and steady. Hanakudo looking for the first top of the competition for her. Round the corner she goes. Nicely done. Really well, she kept her head in it there after that wobble on the first attempt. Slow and steady wins the race on boulder number 2. This boulder been topped twice now. 3 climbers still to come. Nai Mignon from France is going to be next. 2 French athletes, 3 Japanese and an Austrian in this final.
Nai Mignon, as with her compatriot, has made a pretty good start here, to say the least. Safely up to the zone, should be awarded that, I'm sure. Right hand safely round. Could be in here. It's not too bad a top out. It's got to go slowly. And there it is. 3 tops on the boulder.
Another easy top there. It's quite a strange round, really. It's relatively early here. It's 10:51 in the morning here in Arco, and some people really struggling, others just breezing through the boulders. And there's not been any huge battles on the boulders yet, I wouldn't say. Nobody have to really had a big fight, getting really pumped and really working the powerful muscles. It's been a jump to begin with, and then the boulder, the less said about the better, I think. And then this third boulder is just sort of shuffling on your feet. It's it's a whole different skill set being tested at the moment.
Yeah, the finals flying by. I'm no use to anyone before about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm impressed anyone can climb at this time of day.
Natsumi Hirano easily through that first mantle. Just placement of the right foot right on the corner there is a good placement, but just needs to shuffle it a little bit there. She does just move it along. She's looking really confident on her feet there. We saw Hanakudo really focusing on the handhold, and Natsumi and Naimanyon just before her, just really just quickly using it. And I'd say Natsumi Hirano is probably the shortest climber in this finals, and was relatively stretched, but easily through that section. It proves how good those footholds actually are. If you can just keep it together and trust the feet, trust the smear. Such talent on display here in female UFA bouldering. It looks like Natsumi Hirano might be finding a top here. So you just keep it together to get round the corner. Confidently stands on that lower right foot, and there we go. Job done. Another top. It's Luce Douady first at the moment. Naimanyon second, and Natsumi Hirano, who with that top has moved into third position, but it's wide open this one still. Saki Kikuchi is going to be the final climber on this boulder number 3, and somehow we're on boulder number 4 already. This one doesn't really feel like it's got started yet.
No, I know, it's a wonderfully satisfying name to say, Saki Kikuchi.
Let's go. So representing Japan, we have Saki Kikuchi. Alright, so we have understood that the data this time is just to dance around the world on that bullet number 3.
Saki Kikuchi will not know this, but well, she must have a fairly good idea, but a flash could be all but essential here if she'd like to claim a medal. So gets stood up, and we'll begin the creep out to the right. I could barely call it a traverse. It's too slow for that. So it's a creep out to the right.
Action for the feet for Saki Kikuchi right now. Gamba Saki.
Interestingly enough, this has only been topped by one climber who didn't flash it. And Saki Kikuchi tries to go fast, and we've seen that that is not the way to do it. So she's going to need at least another attempt if she is to get it done. And that could, sadly for her, be crucial. It's going to be tight, this final. That is for sure. She's got herself stood up again. I think the lesson learned from the first attempt is don't rush. There you go. You can see you can't quite see that yellow hold. So this time she gets it done. So Saki Kikuchi, nice work from her. But sadly, that attempt could really be a factor.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly the same thing. I think if this does come down to attempts to top, then a silly mistake like rushing that move across the slab may come back to her. So let's have a look at the results. And Luce Douady still up with over 2 tops and 2 zones. Importantly, attempts are becoming critical here. Natsumi Hirano also have those 2 tops, 2 zones, as does Naimanyon. Saki Kikuchi Fourth position with 2 tops, 4 zones. But attempts, like I said, the attempts becoming crucial here. So it's Luce Douady and Natsumi Hirano, the only ones with 2 tops and 3 zones. Naemin Yong is in third position with 2 tops and 2 zones. Jana Ralph currently 0s on the scoreboard. Clearly been suffering with his skin really badly on this round. Comes out with a whole roll of tape.
So Jana Ralph, fourth boulder. Yeah, Mike, boulder 4, please.
Yeah, boulder 4 is on this steeper section of wall with a double angle change, and yeah, super powerful. We've seen this section of wall used a lot for like really powerful boulders here in Arco. Pulls on is kind of a bit of a sea of volumes. There's 2 bigger yellow excuse me, hexagonal shaped volumes. Far right blue triangle is just there to block the top of the lower volume. It could potentially be used as a hill. Then it's a powerful move between 2 fiberglass volumes at which the top should ease off quite a bit once you get over the angle change. Just tone this one down a little bit. I have to say, unfortunately for Jana Ralph, if you've got bad skin, this is about as bad as it gets because it's super powerful. Sloping volumes, temperature's kicking up a little bit here as well, and it's just, you know, if she didn't have any skin before, she certainly won't have any at the end of this. Final bowler though of her World Championship semi-final. She might as well just go and give this everything she's got. I think she may have given everything she's got in the semi-final though, unfortunately. There's, you can see there tape on every single fingertip. Putting in a spirited battle here though. There you can see the full boulder. The zone hold is a big sloping dish just over the angle change. There's that toe hook on the right foot. It's just really powerful, quick move over, smashing in with the left hand. It's actually quite close to your chest, that roll over, so it's sort of like if a sloping volume, but control it with quite a lot of control it in a way that you can hold it that's right in front of your chest, because normally with a big slope, if you're rolling over like that, it's nice if it's kind of at full arm's length. You can just hang underneath it, but you've actually got to put a lot of control, a lot of force just to hold on to it.
So here she goes towards the end of her last boulder of the competition. And as you said, Mike, when you've got bad skin, a slap like that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, I think that's going to be wearing through skin, not only wearing through fingertips.
Pretty sure that's the same thing.
Yeah, I need to go get another coffee. Wearing through tape is what I meant to say. To apologise to everybody out there. We'll get it together in a minute. Yeah, a bowler like that, when you've got so much tape on, you actually can burn through the tape. It's so aggressive. Texture on these volumes is, I would say, medium to coarse. And you can see her just looking through one bit of tape off. She's going to risk it. She can't afford to bleed on the boulder itself. Judges will just be keeping a relatively tight eye as she comes off to make sure she's not got blood coming out of the tips. In the modern bouldering game of the last few years, so many times we see blood coming out when the climbers reach the finals, going through brutal rounds of big fiberglass modern moves. Again, really moving fast as she hits that fiberglass volume. Nice little rollover move that, with the right toe just wedged between the 2 volumes, the yellow and the blue one down right.
She decides, Jana Ralph, not to have another go. That will be that. Never quite got going in this competition. I think skin problems are a pretty major factor in that. And Luce Douady scurries out onto the stage.
Let's go. Now be right back.
Currently leading the competition. Now, if Luce Douady can flash this, she will be uncatchable. And she will be the Youth World Champion. It's a big if, from what we've seen. Oh, safely up to the zone. This is it for Luce Douady. She could win the competition right here. Oh, she has absolutely smashed her way through these boulders. Everything she's topped, she's flashed. And no wonder she's emotional. She's won the competition on the last boulder. She had to flash it to take it out of anyone's hands. And she has done it. That will be 3 flashes and 4 zones. And even if someone catches her, even if someone matches the flash, they will miss out on attempts to zone.
What a superb season Luce Douady has had. It's absolutely brutalised that boulder, just absolutely walloped up it. Superb performance, and yeah, 2019 has been absolutely spectacular for her. She really arrived on the senior stage as well, and yeah, I mean, can't get any better than that. Way to finish with. She's only in the Youth A as well. It's absolutely brilliant. She's looked superb all the way through the qualification, semi-final, and here in the final. And you feel for the other guys because they've still got to go out there and fight, but there is 2 other medals still available here. Hannah Kudo is going to be up next.
Yeah, you can see. We're just waiting for Luce's score to come through. There it is. 3 flashes, 3 tops requiring 3 attempts, and 5 attempts to get the zone, but nobody is going to be able to match that. In fact, only Natsumi Hirano will be able to match the 3 tops 4 zones, but it would still be requiring too many attempts. So Luce Douady grabbed this competition by the scruff of the neck. She will be the Youth World Champion in female Youth A boulder, and I don't think anybody could dispute she's been the best climber today. So she's safely up to the zone. Get the heel hook in place, leave her up. Just needs to get the right foot up. Oh, close, but no cigar. She's on the penultimate hold. Obviously she will have another go. Pulls back on now. Oh, and looked a bit short. You could see the right foot gave just as he went out towards that zone. And Kudo's had a couple of stabs at this boulder.
Yeah, it's one of those boulders with that really powerful first move that you've got to have something left in the tank. But this round so far, you would have thought just the speed that it's gone through, you wouldn't have used too much energy. See a nice little drawing on the left hand there. I think that's a smiley face. I've seen all sorts of different tactics this week actually in the speed climbing. Emma Hunt, the winner of the speed climbing, really talking to herself at the start of each round. Going through her sort of mantra, talking out loud. It's those different tactics. Going up with the right hand to that fiberglass volume and smashing to the zone hold. Oh, massive helicopter with the feet. She's given this one absolutely everything now. It's worth fighting here for Hannah Kudo. Can push herself up the leaderboard. This time goes over with the left hand, now matches. See her fingertips just grinding down that volume as she moves the feet around, sliding off of the fiberglass ball.
Yeah, I think the problem is there's the feet slipping at the crucial moment.
Yeah, really not having much rest between the goes here. So he's just absolutely fighting for it. Now goes right hand again, brings the left hand in. The final few seconds here for Hannah Kudo's Youth World Championships is now over. Upset as she hits the floor.
Mike, I don't know where to start on Luce Douady today. She's absolutely knocked it out the park.
Yeah, I wonder what her total time on the wall was. It was probably a minute and a half, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if she spent more time getting the zone on number 2 on her second attempt than she's done required to top all the other boulders. Absolutely no question who's been the climber of the day in this one.
It's a little bit sad there to see Hannah Kudo go off upset. Yeah, it's a tough battle when you come out here with such expectations and it doesn't go your way. I mean, these athletes have to keep their heads up though, because every individual round is, it's a whole new set of boulders and it's a different challenge. Sometimes the boulders just don't suit you. That first boulder just didn't work for Hannah Kudo. Second one didn't work for anyone and did really well on the third, but when she came out to the fourth she kind of looked already a bit broken, unfortunately, and yeah, it's a real shame for her. It didn't come together, but she's got another year, another opportunity to train, to learn what went wrong at this championships.
Yeah, who knows where we'll be for the Youth World Championships next year. Just trying to think. This is my 4th one I've attended. We were in Guangzhou in China by Hong Kong. We had Innsbruck. That was nice. Walk to work. Not often I get to do that.
Yeah, it'd be a long walk from to here, wouldn't it?
Be a nice walk through the Dolomites. You just need to save about 3 weeks. It just slips off. And then last year we were in Moscow, and here we are in Arco. So where on earth will we be next year for the Youth World Championships?
I'm hoping somewhere that's got swimming, nice weather, something can match the Arco atmosphere.
Well, I'm happy to come back to Arco. I'm just putting it out there. If anyone's keen to get involved with a bit of the organising, help Angelo out a bit.
No, Menyong here wants to find a top, ideally to try and push herself up into that second place. Natsumi Hirano still to come after her. She's currently ahead of her.
Now Menyon just struggling to get established and actually booted some of her kit. I think there's a chalk bag off the stage by accident.
Sykes took the ride down the front to give the judges the opportunity. Wasn't a kick of rage though. We haven't seen much of that at this World Championships. Very well behaved athletes so far.
Yeah, we haven't had the what did they used to call John McEnroe? Super brat.
Could not be serious.
Yeah, we haven't had any of that.
I'd love to see someone come off a boulder that's really not worked and just shout out the route setting team. You cannot be serious.
I feel like you should have done it after boulder 2. We give you a radio mic and send you down the front.
No, you got to feel for the route setters. They've had just the most brutal week.
What did you say they've set? 96 boulders?
96 boulders have been here for weeks on end. How they're still standing, I have no idea. No, I mean, you're just trying to flick for that zone volume.
We're waking up with dreams of power drills in the head.
Yeah. Flashes of light of just, where am I? I'm at home, there's no route setting to do, thank the Lord. The thing is, many of these route setters, they have day-to-day jobs as gym route setting teams, and then they have to go to these big championships. Big championships are almost a holiday for them. There's a nice hashtag actually in America that used a lot. Naï Magnon sticks the zone. This could be huge now.
This could be massive for Naï Magnon if she could find a way here. This would be 3 tops for her if she can do it.
She's running out of time.
She is going to be not saved by the bell. That is too late for Naï Magnon. Oh, that would have not far off. That would have guaranteed her a medal.
Oh, heartbreaker. Goes off in tears as well. This round is just so emotional.
Oh, it's been up, down. We sort of feels like we had a break while we were doing number 2. We're just relaxing a bit, and suddenly the emotion tap has been turned back on, and she will get the zone. But it now means she could be caught and passed by Saki Kikuchi. Oh, that's so frustrating when you get it done, and it's not enough.
I imagine for these athletes as well. 3rd seems like, you know, it's a medal. It's awesome, of course, to get a medal at the World Championships, but silver would have been that much better. Natsumi, let's see what she can make of this powerful volume. She looked really solid through that move. Natsumi has already secured her silver position. She's really doing really well on this boulder so far, pushing it out, pushes the right hand down into mantle and tops. She's absolutely flown through that one.
That didn't take long.
What a interesting tour of boulders. Smashes through that one. That's that one done. Natsumi Hirano will go away with a silver medal. Again, almost looks a bit disappointed. These athletes have only got 1 medal in their minds, and that is the gold. That has already been taken, unfortunately, by Luce Douady of France with 3 flashes, and importantly the zone on the 2nd attempt on boulder number 2.
Just to put it out there, Naï Magnon is currently sitting in 3rd. Saki Kikuchi, if she can find a top, only a top will do it, will move Naï Magnon from bronze down to 4th.
That's the isolation zone on one side of this bouldering wall at the rear. That's where athletes gather. Go from one side to the other between the boulders, ready for their attempt. Saki Kikuchi then, last climber out in this Youth A final.
Yeah, last climber, last buzz. It's only 11:15. Where's this final gone?
Saki sitting in 4th then. Can she progress past that? Look how bad that left hand is. Saki Kikuchi now, what can she get out of that left hand? She's really pumping that left hand. Now she gets the match. This could be better. Jumping off the toe, hits the zone in control. We've seen most athletes bring it home from this point. Just got to mount up into that next upside down sort of shoulder volume. Pushes into it, mantle the right hand. Saki Kikuchi's flying here.
Saki Kikuchi will take a place on the podium. Not the most convincing match I've ever seen, but she will take a place on the podium, assuming the judges are in a good mood.
Yeah, 3 tops for all of the top 3 climbers, 2 tops, or 1 top, and 0 tops is places 4, 5 and 6. And somehow, Charlie, that's the end of the female Youth A boulder final. That one's the quickest on record, surely.
I can't really remember a boulder final like that. The climbers basically couldn't do number 2. Everything else just seemed to be come and go in seconds. Yeah, really strange final, really. I don't really know what to make of that one. It's interesting. But that is the result. Hey, we got a result. And the result is that Luce Douady is the Youth World Champion. And Natsumi Hirano takes the silver. And Saki Kikuchi, with that top of the final boulder, knocks Naï Magnon off the podium. Hanakudo 5th. And Jana Raut, who was really struggling with her skin from the outset, ends up in 6th place. So Youth A Boulder concluded, but as we've said a couple of times, as someone rolls a flight case past us, morning, a lot more action to come. Speed finals starting at 12:30. Youth B women, Youth B men and junior men, and then at 4 p.m. junior women final, followed by Youth A men boulder final as well. So as I say, some action already. That lady there, Luce Douady, crowned Youth World Champion. A lot more to come. We'll speak to you in an hour and a quarter's time for 3 speed finals.